What's up, everybody? It is August 18th, 2020. I'm your host, Justin, and as always, I'm joined by Perry.
Justin, you look good tonight, man.
I
Oh,
appreciate that.
yeah, on a scale of 1 to America, how free are you tonight?
I'm always free.
That was one of my least favorite pickup lines. I need your help, guys.
Yeah, he's
Comment
getting
below.
low on them.
Comment below. Send them to me. Let's go.
95 episodes in, and that's all you got?
I know. Jeez. 95 of these, and it's going downhill. I still haven't picked you up, Justin.
I know, we're still doing this virtually.
Still trying. This is borderline harassment at this point.
Yeah, we've been we're trendsetters, Perry. We've been doing this virtual podcast or virtually social distancing
Right.
for over a year now.
I know. We were ahead of the time.
Yeah,
Yep.
I'm looking at this right now, and I have I don't know if it's always been this way, but like the light is just glaring off of my forehead. I feel like I'm blinding everybody. I apologize for that.
It's always been bright.
Yeah, it's. I feel like it's more so right now than normal.
Did
My
you olive oil
apologies.
your forehead today?
I mean, I usually do before a show.
Yeah, you should. If you want pimples.
Yeah, and just, I mean, that's what gets me going, for the show. It pumps me up.
Do you want pimples? Because that's how we get pimples.
That's how we get ants.
That was the joke I was making.
Yeah, just want to make sure everyone else got it. I got it.
From Archer. Archer says that. Now
On
everybody gets the
the
joke.
TV show, it's animated. If you guys haven't seen it.
It's a comedy series.
Lana!
Okay. Should we? We
God,
haven't even.
we
Where
haven't
can
even.
people find us?
Right?
Are we doing a giveaway, Justin? I don't know. What's today's episode about?
Well, let's start with today's episode. We're going to cover the top 12 tight ends. Super exciting. But we're also doing a giveaway. Also exciting. And man, I've been I run a poll every month for the giveaway, and for the last 5 months, I've included the Cook jersey.
You don't even know who he is.
Yeah,
Man.
right. And I forget the Cook jersey, Jared Cook jersey, in the poll for what we're giving away, and he never wins the poll. I started to feel bad for him and the people who were voting for him because they're.
I have
vocal.
a feeling we'll talk about him today.
Yeah,
That might help.
Yeah, that might help. But they're very vocal about this. The ones who were voting for him. He didn't win the poll again. Cam Akers Autograph Football won the poll. But I'm like, you know what? We're starting football season at the beginning of next month. I'm getting excited.
You're just gonna give Jared Cook to me.
No, so I'm giving them both away. So just
Me.
make sure. No.
Oh darn.
To one of them.
One of them?
Yeah, I'm pointing at the camera.
Oh, but hey man, I'm the viewer. I watch every week.
Just make sure you subscribe and leave a comment, and then maybe you could win it. You can't.
I'm Terry Pooley.
And then also you guys can find us on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe.
Please.
You can find us on social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. We're everywhere. Everywhere where you listen to podcasts, we're there as well. So make sure you find us and follow us on those ones. And if you feel like leaving rating, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Preferably a high one, but whatever you feel. Like if you think that we suck, then cool. Leave that too.
Yeah, let us know. But also let us know why. So, we can assess that and decide if we want to get better.
Yeah. I mean, Perry might fire me.
If you tell me, oh man, the podcast sucks, Perry needs to shave his beard, we're just going to continue to suck because I'm not shaving my beard.
Yeah, I already know it's going to be the low rating because the light glaring off my forehead. I know it.
And if it's because you don't think Han Solo is cool, also not changing.
Whew, yeah.
It's not changing.
I will block you from our podcast, in fact.
Yeah. Stop watching.
All
For
right.
any other reason, I could probably make it better.
There's probably at least 30 that I could come up with that just are deal breakers, but that's a different episode. For now, let's get into some NFL news, Perry.
We don't need to talk about tight ends. Let's just talk about deal breakers. No? Okay, cool.
No,
Let's move on. We just recently did an episode, so I already covered some news that day. I'm just going to cover a couple things here. Big, kind of an important piece of news here is Nick Chubb is officially in the concussion protocol. During practice on Monday, he was tackled around the neck, and he was officially diagnosed with a concussion. And so this is his first NFL concussion that we know of. So that's a good thing. But it's also something to pay attention to. Concussions seem to, increase the more you have. So he should be fine by the start of the season. I assume that he'll be fine, but something to note. Yeah. AJ Green tweaked his hamstring. Practice Monday. Did not practice Tuesday.
I'm just shocked that AJ Green has a hamstring left.
I almost want to say that AJ Green will not play football this season at all.
He's still ranked above Tyler Boyd?
Yes, he's ranked extremely high.
Yeah.
I get it. AJ Green was really good for a long time, but the dude is broken.
He's a shell of the man he once was.
I hope I'm wrong. I hope we're both wrong. I hope he goes out there and he dominates. But I have to play like the likelihoods here. And if
he dominates, so will Tyler Boyd.
Yeah. The likelihood is that AJ Green will see another injury sometime this season. He will, if he plays every game this season, like we got to do something.
Shocked. Yeah.
Yeah. We'll do something to like punish me for being such an AJ Green hater. But I am so confident that AJ Green will miss time this season. All right, last piece of news. Dez Bryant works out with the Ravens and intends to play in 2020 despite not having played since 2017. That's all the news I got.
All right, news no one cares about. So Dez Bryant said that he plans to play in 2020, and he has not played since 2017.
Yeah, that pretty much sums that up. 31 years old, torn Achilles. Nope, I don't really care if he signs with the highest powered offense in the league. I will not be drafting Dez Bryant anywhere.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I'm like, cool, good for him.
Yeah.
Not and good again, for any fantasy team.
Again, I hope I'm wrong because I don't root for people to do poorly. I would love to see Dez Bryant like have a resurgence in his career and go win a Super Bowl or something.
That'd be cool, but I mean, I also would love to see some new young guy get an opportunity. So
yeah,
I mean, it goes both ways. They're going to have the same number of players on that field no matter what. So if Dez Bryant isn't there, then that's more room for another player, another young kid to get a shot. So, I mean, it's not that I'm rooting against him. I just don't think that he's still got like from 3 years ago.
Yeah. Yep. Okay.
And also, 3 years ago, he signed a contract, stepped on a field, and got hurt immediately.
That's pretty much how I would handle it. I'd sign a contract, I'd step on the field, one play would happen, and I would be carted off the field.
He didn't get to the one play. It happened the day he signed the contract on the practice field.
No, I know.
Yeah.
That would be me.
Yeah.
Yeah, if there's any contact involved, I'm off the field on a cart after one play. If it's a non-contact practice,
you're gonna button hook me.
I'm probably still going to leave the field on a cart. It just might be on the second play.
from exhaustion.
Yes. Yes.
Next piece of news no one cares about. Bears running back / wide receiver Cordell Patterson, talking about Mitchell Trubisky, says he actually looks like a whole new player this year. I just see it in his eyes each and every day. He's got that fire in him.
That's all I need to hear.
Yeah,
I'm drafting him.
QB1, right?
Yep.
That's all I was waiting for was Cordell Patterson to tell me this is the guy.
That's what I was waiting for too. He hadn't said it yet.
Yeah, changes
So,
my whole ranking. So thank you, Cordell Patterson, for that.
wow. Insightful.
Um, all right, this one's for you, Perry.
Ooh,
The Broncos
nice.
get the real deal Drew Lock with swag in year 2. That's the complete headline. And no, there's no reasoning for it. Just they say that he has swag this year.
I mean, that's great.
That's all I ever look for in my quarterback. So
Yeah, Tom Brady's got swag, man.
yeah.
So, as far as I can tell, that's the key to winning. Can't tell me I'm wrong. You can't tell me I'm wrong.
I mean,
Peyton Manning has swag.
yeah, but Nick Foles doesn't really have swag as much as I want him to.
Nick Foles found some swag for a few weeks, all right?
Yeah, and you know who has a ton of swag though? Gardner Minshew.
Guy's a winner. That guy is a winner. Gardner Minshew is hilarious.
I know.
This has nothing to do with what we're talking about today.
No,
but he is hilarious.
He needs to be on our podcast. That just needs to happen.
Well, I'm down. I mean, you have my full support. Should we talk about some tight ends?
Hold on, one more thing. This was the last one I actually just came across right before. Matthew Judon was from the Ravens was doing an interview, not in person with the reporters. He was sitting there. They were Skyping in or whatever. And one of the reporters was driving while they Skyped in. And so Matthew Judon did a PSA like, hey, don't be on your phone while you're driving. I'm ending this interview now for your safety, for the reporter's safety, and for everyone else on the road safety. And got up and walked away. I was like, good for him.
I like that.
Yeah.
Marshawn Lynch should have tried that.
Right? I mean, it wouldn't have worked because they were in person, but he still should have tried it.
Yeah, no, I don't. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Yeah, nobody ever would have been like, that's so Marshawn. Look at that man eating Skittles. They wouldn't have cared.
That's probably also accurate.
Mm-hmm.
All right,
cool.
Now we could get to some tight ends, Barry.
All right, we're doing 1 through 12.
Yep.
Now, I'm going to be completely honest, guys. I don't like ranking tight ends.
It's my least favorite position to rank.
Yeah. You know what? Because 1 through 5 is pretty much set somewhere in that, like the order might change slightly, but 1 through 5 is like pretty much set. Anything else like 6 through 12 is just, honestly, the 6th ranked tight end at the end of the season could have like 15 more points than the 12th ranked tight end at the end of the season. So it's just such a wash, but I did my best. I moved a few things around here. But yeah, we'll start with you, Justin. Who do you have as your number 1 tight end?
Travis Kelsey.
Me too. I think that George Kittle has a chance to surpass Travis Kelsey this season as the number 1 fantasy tight end. But I do believe that the offense just isn't good enough to get him there because the Chiefs offense is so amazing.
Yeah. So like, I think Kittle is the focal point of that offense. And like, that's why he has the ability to be that, to get there. And dude's just a beast.
Right.
But then the offense that Travis Kelsey, some weeks is not. Some weeks he might be the focal point. Some weeks he might not. But the offensive output from the team is so much that if I'm betting on one of these 2 guys, I'm going with the one who, the team is producing, 900 yards per game.
I'm also going to go with the guy that set the record as the first tight end in NFL history to have 4 straight 1,000-yard receiving seasons. Pretty cool. Travis Kelsey. And then number 2, Justin, I assume you have George Kittle.
Yeah. So those 2 guys, if you guys play fantasy football, this should be no surprise.
Yeah.
If you don't play, kind of confused why you're watching this podcast, but thank you anyway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, that's awesome. Great support.
But yeah, George Kittle, like I said, dude's a beast. Like it,
Mm-hmm.
I still think I'm also a 49er fan, but I think back to that playoff game against the Saints where the dude was face masking him and he dragged the dude for like 20 yards with
Yeah.
his face while that guy's just hanging from his face mask. Like that's amazing.
I do believe that George Kittle has a chance this season to take over that number one spot, like I said, for
And
tight
he just
end.
got paid.
But it's going to take a really large increase in talent from Jimmy Garoppolo, or at least production.
I
Maybe the
mean,
talent's already there, but production.
yeah, I don't think it's going to take a large, like a massive amount because he is the focal point, but it is going to take, and like he needs to produce more throwing the ball.
I think I think it's going to need to be a pretty large increase because there's going to be some other people in that passing offense that need to start producing at a very high level.
Oh,
And
speaking of some news we didn't cover, Jalen Hurd tore his ACL.
that's
He's
right.
out for the season. So that was I feel bad for that dude because like he was out all last season. This with Debo being out, this was a great opportunity for him to come in there and really get a shot, but
Yeah,
that won't be happening.
right. But yeah, so George Kittle, great pick. If I landed either of these guys at the right spot, I'd be very happy. Unfortunately for me, they're generally going pretty early in the draft. As bad as I would love to just say, all right, I'm taking Kelsey here because it gives me such an advantage at that position. I'm having a lot of trouble not going running back in the first round. So even in all my mock drafts, I'm not getting Kelsey because a lot of times he's going like right at the end of the first, beginning of the second, and I just can't commit it. I can't commit.
Yeah.
But
Where do you feel comfortable drafting these dudes?
either one of them as my third pick,
Yeah.
right? I would be okay with that. I want my two solid running backs. Like I desperately want my two solid running backs. And we've covered the talent at wide receiver later. So if I end up having to wait on a wide receiver for, round 4, round 5, something like that, or even round 5, round 6, because I got Kelsey or Kittle in the third round, then I'd be very happy. But the odds of that happening are pretty low. Maybe in some home leagues where things go a little different, that might happen.
I've seen it happen a few times if you have a early third round pick. Like,
Sure. You'd have to have like first 3 picks overall.
yeah.
Yeah. Who do you have at 3?
I have Marc Andrews at number 3.
As do I. Wow. We're cool.
Yeah. So, I mean, we saw he had that connection there. He is the number 1 pass catcher in Baltimore, similar to Kittle for the 49ers in that there wasn't elite wide receiver production anywhere on that field. So he kind of picked up the slack there in that category. And I mean, it worked out. Like him and Lamar just had that connection, and he's a great athlete in a perfect situation. So it's one of those things where the situation there, it's a perfect storm for him to repeat what he did last year.
Right. Yeah. So with Marc Andrews, he's only ever last season he never surpassed 57% of the snaps in any game. So with Hayden Hurst leaving, clearly there's going to be more opportunity here for Marc Andrews to do more of what he did last season. The touchdown numbers are pretty insane, right? The rate, but on an offense that seems to move the ball as well as it did, and for everything we have watched, it should continue to do so. The touchdown opportunity should still be there for Marc Andrews. So I really like Marc Andrews. I want him. I had him last season. Worked out great for me. Where would you draft Marc Andrews right now? What round?
Oh man, so that's tough. Because like if I don't get those first 2 guys, usually I hold off on tight end, kind of till there's not a wide receiver or running back that I want in whatever like close vicinity range of my pick,
Right.
and then I'll look at it. And I never seem to end up with Darren Waller being available when that's the case. So I would say probably 5th round. I'd feel okay with it.
Sure. Yeah, I think I agree with you there. Yeah. Um, and then who do you have at 4?
I have Darren Waller at 4.
Okay, so I have Darren Waller at 5. So this is the first difference that we have here.
Oh my God, that's insane, Perry.
Uh, Darren Waller at 4. Your reasoning, sir?
So, I mean, both these. I mean, who do you have at 4?
I have Zach Ertz.
Yeah. So both these guys are I mean, great options, great tight ends. Like you said, these first 5 guys are kind of like, yeah, that's the 5. So I like both of them, but the reason why I have Waller over Ertz is because there's another great tight end also in Philadelphia that I think takes some of those targets. Ertz is clearly the better tight end, and I think he's still going to do just fine. But I think that he might lose a couple of those targets and maybe even a couple of those touchdowns. And so just because of that, I have Waller ahead of him. But like these first, you're not going to be unhappy with any of these top 5 tight ends. Like if you got Waller, you're not going to be like, dang it, I got Waller instead of Ertz. Or if you got Ertz, you're not going to be like, dang it, I got Ertz instead of Waller. Both of them are going to be just fine.
Yeah. For Waller, I think that's the ceiling play between these two. So I think Waller's ceiling is much higher than Zach Ertz's ceiling. I just do. I think the athletic talent is much higher. He's got youthfulness on his side. That always helps. With Zach Ertz, it's the floor play. So Zach Ertz has a much higher floor than Derek Waller. Derek Waller could be a bust, or Darren Waller, excuse me. Could be a bust. That could totally. I mean, any of these guys could be a bust, but Darren Waller, I
think he has a higher likelihood than anyone else in this tier of tight end.
Definitely. But for me, Zach Ertz, I put him higher just because the target count is insane. I don't expect him to repeat his 2018 numbers where he had 116 receptions on 156 targets. But last season, even with Dallas Goddard kind of emerging, Zach Ertz was still able to get 135 targets. I think he'll probably see maybe around 120 this season. He's just very consistent guy on that team, and anybody who's quarterback there seems to really rely on him quite a bit. So I'm just not scared of Dallas Goddard all that much, but there will be some effect for sure. They'll run some 2 tight end sets where Goddard's open and Ertz isn't, so Goddard gets the ball. But that's kind of my reasoning there. I just went for the safer play with Ertz at 4, and then Waller.
I will say, there very well could be some regression with Waller with his numbers from last year because his production was crazy.
Insane. Yeah.
And on 90% of their snap share. And like he had the second most receptions with 90. Like they brought in a bunch of wide receivers in this draft class. So I mean, there very well could be some regression there. Like you said, it's the higher ceiling play, but also he could end up being a bust if like all those receivers just broke out. They're just like, hey, we're here to ball.
And to be fair, the Eagles also brought in a lot of wide receiver talent. So there's some questions here. I mean, we could see it passing the guard here. We could see a bust here. This is really where like it starts to get a little bit more hairy. The first 3 guys we talked about, I think both of us are a lot more confident in where we put them. And it starts to get a little bit more weird here.
And I mean, what's funny is we talked a little bit before the show, so we kind of knew who each other had at 1 through 5, and that's as far as we went. So
now it should get a little bit more interesting.
Now we're flying blind here.
Who do you have at 6?
I have Hunter Henry.
Okay, I have Hunter Henry at 8.
Okay, who you have at 6?
I have Hayden Hurst at 6.
Oh, you have him quite a bit higher than me. I have him at 10.
You know how I feel about Matt Ryan
Yeah, I know.
and the Falcons.
My fear. So I'm gonna start with with Hayden Hurst.
Go ahead.
I love Hayden Hurst. He's got a great opportunity there. Like, he was there in Baltimore last year, and I mean, he did great. And then he now goes to Atlanta and replaces Hooper. Like, seem a perfect storm. But you also
It could be
have
too perfect. It could be too
yeah,
perfect.
you also have Matt Ryan rated or ranked higher than I do.
Hmm.
Which, I mean, we haven't done our quarterback episode yet, so I'm just assuming this because I know how much you love Matt Ryan. But I know, yeah, I know how much you love him. And so that makes sense to me that you would have Hayden Hurst higher than me, because we both have Julio Jones very high. We both have Calvin Ridley very high. And if I had Hayden Hurst as high as you, then I would have to raise Matt Ryan to be as high as, as much as you love him. So
Yeah.
that makes sense to me. But yeah, go ahead. You could speak on.
Oh, I mean, basically, I just think the opportunity, right? I'm the
Yeah.
perfect storm. I'm buying into it, and I know there's been a lot of times in the NFL where the perfect storm didn't work out, and this could end up being another one of those times. I fully acknowledge that, but the offense is just too good. The passing offense, at least, is just too good. The touchdown opportunity will be too high, in my opinion, for Hayden Hurst to not, you know, succeed at some degree. So I don't think he'll be the number one tight end like Austin Hooper was on track to be before he got hurt last season. But I think that he could, crack the top 5 possibly. Got him right there at 6.
Yeah, and Hunter Henry, I think if he stays healthy, that he could quite possibly break into the top 5. They I don't think that they're going to be pushing the ball down the field with deep passes. So I think he's going to get more targets this year than he has in the past. And like, he is a great talent. He's a very talented tight end. If he can just stay out there and keep, get the ball. So, or just be on the field, so he's an option to get the ball to him. And it's a team that is lacking offensive weapons. They've got a couple really good players, but not a lot of depth. So I think that he could kind of solidify himself as one of the keys to this team's success.
I'm sorry. Just with Hunter Henry, I think I agree with you, the talent's there, but I just don't think he'll stay on the field.
Yeah, and that's the biggest fear with him.
He's never played a full season
Yeah,
in his entire career. I think a lot of times we get a little bit stuck on the fact that he had 8 touchdowns as a rookie. But man, I would love for Hunter Henry to stay on the field for an entire season. I think he'll have 1,000 yards and like 7 touchdowns if he does, which is a really good tight end season. But I just can't trust it. I do acknowledge it in the fact that I have him as my 8th ranked tight end, that the talent is there and that he could, he can do it, but I'm just not sure if he will.
Yeah. And I mean, honestly, I can't disagree with you, because I mean, that is the fear with him. And if I'm drafting him, I am hoping every week he does not get injured, and I'm paying attention to the free agency of the tight ends.
Yeah,
Because there's a good chance that he might get injured, and I might be picking up a tight end off the waiver wire the next week.
if he does get injured this season, I think that his fantasy value is over at that point. I will not be dabbling in the Hunter Henry pool ever again. But cool. So who did you have at 7?
At 7, I have Evan Ingram, another injury prone.
I also have Evan Ingram at 7. So it's kind of the same story as Hunter Henry.
Right.
I just personally believe that Hunter Henry's situation at quarterback is better, as far as we can tell-ish. And I know how you feel about the quarterback in New York. But, Danny Dimes.
I will say, Evan,
there's a high ceiling with Danny Dimes.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Yeah.
Go on.
We'll get to quarterback rankings, so at that point, I will not be talking about Danny Dimes. So.
I don't think I will either. But his ceiling is extremely high. He's shown that multiple times last season, throwing for 5 touchdowns, in 2 games or something like that. So
I think I think 4 1 game and 5 1 game.
I feel like my point still stands.
yeah. I'm just
so there will be times where this offense moves the ball, and Evan Ingram being healthy, he will be a huge part of that offense moving the ball. When LA with the Chargers, Keenan Allen is the number one passing offense option there. And there's an argument that Saquon might be the number one passing offense on the Giants, but
there's not an argument. It's a fact.
Yeah. But Evan Ingram, I think, is
your standard pass catching player, not a running back outside the running back core is the best option there.
Right. So that's why I have Evan Ingram one place ahead of Hunter Henry. I fully acknowledge the fact that they're both extremely risky when it comes to injuries. Neither one has played a full season ever. So yeah.
And I mean, I don't even know this, there is nothing to back this up except my gut feeling. But I feel like Evan Ingram is more likely to get injured than Hunter Henry, and I have no idea why. Like I said, there's nothing to back that up. Absolutely nothing. They're both they're both equal. They both get injured every year, but my gut says oh man. So who do you have next, Barry?
So at 9?
No,
who do you have at 8?
7.
No, it's 7.
Oh, we both had Evan Ingram.
Yeah, who do you have at 8?
At 8, I have Tyler Higbee.
Oh, okay. I have Tyler Higbee at 10.
Who do you have at 8?
Hunter Henry.
Oh. that makes sense. No, so Higbee, I think that he's got a good opportunity there. They seem to rely on him a lot towards the back end of last year. He looked great. I do fear that they are going to be running more 2 tight end sets. Otherwise, he'd probably be higher on my rankings. But he's still a good, talented player in a decent situation, but he does have competition at that position.
Yeah, that's kind of with Gerald Everett there. That's the only reason why Tyler Higbee is as low as he is for me. At 10, I'm worried about Gerald Everett being just even more involved. I think if they want to win football games, Gerald Everett should be more involved, and Tyler Higbee should be, it should be pretty equal. Lots of 2 tight end sets here.
Splits,
if they want to win football games, that's what they should do. And the Rams don't really give a quack about fantasy football, so that's kind of how I feel about it. But he was
number 1 in red zone receptions for tight ends last year, but he was number 19 in touchdowns for tight ends.
Yeah,
that's not good.
Let's see. So that was your what ranked player?
Tyler Higbee is number 8 for me.
Okay, and he's number 10 for me. And number 9, you have?
I have Jared Cook.
I have Jared Cook at 9.
Nice.
I thought I was gonna get you with that one.
Yeah, and like you said, that's the one who we're giving the jersey away of. So
yeah. So with Jared Cook, man, it's just good passing offense, right? He's clearly an end zone threat for that offense. He clearly showed he doesn't need a lot of targets to be super productive. Finishing last season with only 65 targets, only 43 receptions for 705 yards and 9 touchdowns. There could be some touchdown regression here, but there also could be some progression in terms of number of targets. If he saw 20, 25 more targets, if we had him at 80 or 90 targets, which, in 2018, he had 101 targets in Oakland. So we know he can handle the workload. We could he could be like a really good tight end this season.
Yeah, and you know how much I love Drew Brees this year, so
Yeah.
I obviously think that he's gonna do just fine throwing to his tight end, wide receivers, everyone basically. So
Right.
yeah, I think
And
he's just got a great opportunity. And you want to hear something hilarious?
so bad.
Thank you. So Jared Cook's measurables. Do you know what player he most closely compares to? It's another tight end.
Yeah, no, I figured.
Yeah.
Is this somebody like well known?
No. I mean,
Oh,
you'll know his name, but
all right.
it's
Well,
not
tell
like
me.
a star. Kobe Fleener.
Oh my God. It's not like a star. You described it perfectly.
Thank you. Thank you.
So eloquently put.
And what's funny is Kobe Fleener also was with the Saints.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
It's funny.
fits the mold perfect.
Right on. Okay. So that was number 9. I have Tyler Higbee at 10. Who do you have at 10?
At 10, I have Hayden Hearst.
Oh, and see, I have Hayden Hurst up at 6.
Yeah.
So we've talked about Hayden Hurst. Anything you want to add regarding Hayden Hurst?
No,
Other than
I already talked about him.
cool. I have Tyler Higbee at 10. At 11, I have Mike Gesicki.
Out where?
11.
As do I. Wow, I'm kind of surprised by that because I really like Mike Gesicki this year.
Me too.
I
Yeah,
think
me
of
too.
all of the tight ends that I have outside of the top, probably 5 or 6. I think he's the one that's most likely to, or has the best chance to break into that. I think he
Yes.
has the lower floor, but his ceiling is huge.
His floor is basement level.
Yeah.
Totally. I completely acknowledge that, but his ceiling is top 5.
Yeah. Like the outside of production, which he gets, like he is productive.
Mm-hmm.
But like looking at like just his measurables, like for 40-yard dash, speed score, burst score, agility score, catch radius, his lowest of all of those is 95th percentile. His catch radius is 100th percentile. He has the best catch radius of any tight end in the NFL.
Yeah, no, I like Mike Gesicki. And you know what? A lot of this stuff about Chan Gailey taking over as the offensive coordinator, and the fact that he hasn't produced a fantasy relevant tight end other than Tony Gonzalez, I just don't buy into it. I don't really care. Who were those tight ends? That's kind of a better question, right? There's a lot of bad tight ends in the NFL, fantasy tight ends.
Yeah, fantasy
in the NFL.
Yeah.
So it's fine. This could just be the first fantasy tight end, a good fantasy tight end he's had since Tony Gonzalez. So, did you ever think of that? What else do you got?
And with Fitzmagic there, like this dude was on fire. Gesicki was doing amazing things with him. So he's gonna come out the gate hot. And then we'll see the question's gonna be when Tua takes over, does it continue?
Right.
And that's my
true
fear.
Question. Yeah.
That's why I have him down at 11. But because there's a chance he could just disappear at that point. But I do believe in this dude, and this is one of the dudes I love to wait on and just get him super late in the draft.
Okay, this next one was pretty tough for me. Do you want me to say it first, or do you want to say it?
I want you to. I don't know who it is.
I know, but I have Gronk here.
I have Gronk at 14.
Okay, thank God. I thought we were okay, with Gronk, it's just we talked about your gut, and I want to talk about my gut. And my gut tells me that Tom Brady will get down to the end zone, and Tom Brady will go to something he knows, because that's just kind of how he's worked in the past. He's always had his tried and true guy who he trusts in situations where it's really important. First downs, third downs. Sorry, getting
Julian,
first downs.
Yeah, Julian
was my point.
Edelman. Yeah.
Right. So there was Julian Edelman. There's Gronk. Like these guys that he zeroes in on. I understand that Gronk has missed a full season, but to crack the top 12 as a tight end does not take that much. If he gets 5 touchdowns this season, he's probably a top 12 tight end. And Gronk getting 5 touchdowns and like 600 yards, that could easily happen. So that's why I have Gronk here, and I just left Austin Hooper out. So
I have Austin Hooper quite a bit lower. I just don't trust it. Moving offenses.
We don't need to talk about Austin Hooper.
Yeah,
he's not.
Yeah, he's not in the top 12.
Okay.
You know who my number 12 is?
Let me guess here. Let me look. Is it Jonnu Smith?
No, I do like me some Jonnu though.
Is it Noah Fant?
It is.
Okay.
It is Noah
Nice.
Fant. Yeah. I love Noah Fant. I loved him a lot more before the draft. I think before the draft, I had him up around 9.
Mm-hmm.
And then because of drafting Jerry Jeudy, I had to drop him down a little bit. He came down to 12. He's still a great talent, great tight end. He needs to take that next step forward with not dropping as many balls. And I mean, like I was saying, Drew Lock, he's got swagger this year. So, I mean, you can't argue that because it's unarguable. But Noah Fant's he's still going to do just fine. It's actually an offense I'm growing on, and it's
growing on you.
Yeah. It's perplexing to me because
you're not growing on them, Justin.
Yeah.
They don't know who you are.
What?
How could you say that?
These jerks. Unfollow all of them on Twitter. But no, like Drew Lock, I don't have him super high ranked in my rankings, but I like a lot of the pieces of this team. So it's hard.
For me, I don't always like going with these like crutch arguments like too many mouths to feed. But when it comes to Denver, the fact that Drew Lock has not proven that he should be a quarterback that throws the ball 600 times.
Yeah.
And I don't think he should. I do not think they should allow him to throw the ball 600 times. As a Denver fan, I do not want Drew Lock throwing the ball 600 times. Flat out. I just think with Cortland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy, KJ Hamler, Melvin Gordon, Phillip Lindsay.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. I like too many of these players as football players.
Right. For me, it's hard to believe that Noah Fant is really productive. I like Noah Fant. I think he's really talented. I think that if you took out 2 of these wide receivers or one of these wide receivers or something like that, or let's say Phillip Lindsay goes down, or Melvin Gordon for that matter, I would like Noah Fant a lot.
Yeah, or
but
Jerry Jeudy, yeah.
I just I think Melvin Gordon or Phillip Lindsay going down would help Jerry Jeudy, or would help Noah Fant more than if Jerry Jeudy were to go down, personally.
I just fear that Jerry Jeudy would take those targets.
Maybe. So yeah, that's why I can't put Noah Fant there. I've got him right around 15. But
so this next, basically my tight end 12 to 15 is a group that I like a lot. I got real quick. I'm just gonna list them, not talk about them. But Noah Fant, T.J. Hawkinson, Gronk, Jonnu Smith.
Yeah, I think Jonnu Smith would be at the top of that for me personally. Other than Gronk, right? Because I have Gronk already in there, but yeah. I like Jonnu Smith a lot this season.
More than Hawkinson, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I like T.J. Hawkinson blew up one game, right? Like one game, and so for me, it's like, do it again.
Yeah, I understand
but like
that.
Maybe 16 times.
For me, it's more the offense.
Yeah, sure. I mean, yeah, we could talk about T.J. Hawkinson if you want, but I don't know. It's one game, and I think that with Stafford there the entire time, Hawkinson will definitely have a better season than he had
Yeah.
last season. But it could just be that Hawkinson is like just another guy.
Yeah, like if we're going, I would say if we're going talent wise, then like based off talent, then yeah, Jonnu over Hawk for me. But it's just the volume of offense I worry about. There, I know Detroit's throwing the ball a lot. And just hopefully Hawkinson can catch the ball. So he did have a lot of drops.
For me, TJ Hawkinson could just be another Jack Doyle, and I would be like, okay, yeah, I got that.
Yeah, touchdown machine, right?
Get out of here. Get out. All right. Cool. Well, that was a grand time, Justin.
Yeah, we should do this again next week or next episode. We're gonna do tight ends 12 through no, just kidding. That's all the tight ends you guys are getting. That's it. I'm sorry. If you want more, hit me up on Twitter and I'll give you a list because for some reason I have them ranked all the way to 35 because I'm insane. But next episode we'll be covering our quarterbacks, our QB1, so QB1 through QB12.
Bye everyone.